that populations eating the so-called Western diet, which is to say a diet with lots of processed foods, lots of refined grain, refined sugars, lots of meat, lots of everything except fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. People who eat that way, which is most of us, have, populations who eat that way have high levels of chronic diseases, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. We've been talking about something called scientific eating since the 1840s. And it's an odd idea, but Americans, I think, have trouble with eating for pleasure, simple pleasure. And I think that traces, so we wanted to make it very scientific, very rational. And I think that's part of our Puritan inheritance. Puritans, you know, one of the features of Puritanism is that they have a lot of trouble taking pleasure in doing things that animals also do. There is no one ideal human diet. We've done very well as a species. We are omnivores, and we live on 6 of the 7 continents, and we have managed to make a healthy diet from whatever nature has to offer in those places. It's quite extraordinary, actually. And, you know, and the range, to give you a couple extreme examples, in Africa, Maasai warriors, some of the healthiest specimens on earth, eat a diet of a very high protein diet, cattle blood, milk, and meat. And then you go to Central America, and Central American Indians eat a diet largely of maize, corn, and beans. High starch diet, very healthy. And then you go to Greenland, and the Inuit eat an almost all fat diet. They're eating huge amounts of seal and whale fat, and have no type 2 diabetes and no heart disease to speak of until they get to Canada. And then everything changes. But it also tells you what an amazing thing for a civilization, an advanced civilization, to have developed the one diet on the planet that reliably makes its population sick. What an achievement. In Japan, for example, they have a saying, hara hachibu, eat until you're 4/5 full, 80%. Very, you know, what an un-American idea. I mean, we're taught to eat until you're full. Your mother would say, are you full? But the Japanese decide it's a good idea to stop before that. Now, how do you know when you're at 4/5? Unless you've gone to 5/5, and then you realize, oh, I overshot. So, and this concept of stopping eating before you're full is actually enshrined in the French language. I mean, think about what the French say. You know, when they're hungry, they say, as we do, I'm hungry. They say, j'ai faim, I have hunger. But when they're done eating, they don't say I'm full. They say, je n'ai plus faim. I no longer have hunger. That's such a different concept. And if you think about the moment when you're eating, when you no longer have hunger, it's many bites before you're full. And so they have a, you know, it's a cultural idea. And whether we can learn it or not, I don't know, but it's an interesting, you should try this exercise when you're eating and say, am I still hungry? Right now, of our food dollar, the farmer receives less than 10%, okay? 90% of it goes to the people who are doing the processing and the packaging, okay? If we were eating real food, we could give more money to the farmers to produce that food and have a revival of our agriculture. Make this really a garden state. Also, if we began to diversify our diets, get off of corn and soy and wheat, because we stopped eating processed food, our farmers could diversify their fields. And so eating becomes a matter of navigating between the evil nutrients and the good nutrients. The problem is the identity of the good and evil nutrients is constantly changing. And, you know, if you go back a little bit, you find, I mean, in our own time, we've seen fat, for example, be rehabilitated partly, and I think it will be even more rehabilitated than it has been. And the carbohydrate, which in my childhood was blessed, and so they came up with cereal as a way to drive protein out of the morning meal, get the eggs and bacon off our plates. You know, I got rules like, I got this from both a Jewish and Italian grandmother, passed down through her grandkids. It was, the whiter the bread, the sooner you'll be dead. This turns out to be a good rule of thumb.